Hey guys, welcome back to my comic review series on IDW Sonic the Hedgehog, where I cover each and every issue. Today I am doing a review of issue 8, which is the final part of the second saga of the series, The Fate of Dr. Eggman, though it is titled Silent Support for this issue. As usual in these reviews, I will provide some recap before we head into the story. Sonic and Tails discover a giant blue battleship that they blew up twice in Sonic Heroes, and Sonic jumps onto the battleship and infiltrates its base. There, he runs into Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik, who was about to reveal his next plan, but is interrupted by Sonic, who exposes him for being a fake, as he already met the real Eggman, who has amnesia at this point. This causes the fake Eggman to reveal himself as Neo Metal Sonic, the one who is responsible for all the badnik attacks that have assaulted the villages. After a brief backstory, Sonic and Neo Metal engage in an awesome fight, although Neo Metal gains the upper hand after copying Sonic's data. As a result of not being able to handle this on his own, Sonic attempts to escape, but Neo Metal follows in pursuit, ordering his cannons to put a stop to the blue blur. The blue blur takes care of the egg pawns and cannons with minimal effort, only to get sneak attacked by Neo Metal from behind and grab him over the edge, forcing him to tell him where Eggman is. Sonic then eventually breaks free and is saved by Tails. They return to the Resistance HQ, where they tell Amy and Knuckles about the current situation. Sonic gets an idea that they could find some sort of record for Eggman's old plans, with Amy letting the rest of the Resistance know by sending out a call. At the end, Neo Metal makes his way towards his next targets, Angel Island and the Master Emerald. And it all leads up to this very issue where Sonic will carry out his next mission. The main cover for this issue is pretty cool. Sonic and another recurring game character who will appear in the story, Silver the Hedgehog, are being targeted by an unknown figure as a red reticle is shown to be aiming at them. Reminds me a whole lot of the cover art from issue 2 of Sonic Universe. Wonder if that was an intentional reference or a coincidence. Either way, this was drawn by the talented Evan Stanley and was colorized by Matt Herms. Another greatly drawn cover A for the series, as they did a splendid job. Now let's move on to the story. I love the way they begin the issue here. Sonic decides to take notes from Casey Cooper from Casey on the Cover, and infiltrates one of Eggman's pyramid bases
at night.
And of course, being the fastest thing alive that he is, he successfully enters. And oh my god, only one page in and already I am in love with this art style. Look at the way he's drawn here. He looks so freaking good! Also, as he enters, he's being spied on by another mysterious figure. Really hoping it's not a bad guy working for Metal Sonic, or some criminals like Rough and Tumble from the third issue. As Sonic runs through the base, he dodges some turrets and boosts through the spinners. This expression is killing me. Just then, he sees another door about to fully close, and is seemingly anxious that he might not make it in time. Fortunately, the mysterious figure fires some sort of a pink energy which resembles that of the Spike Wisp from Sonic Colors, and it holds the door open long enough for Sonic to slip right through. Whew, that was close. He continues traversing until an even bigger spinner appears in front of him. Sonic and I had the same reaction. Before Sonic is about to fight the spinner gets encased in a greenish cyan aura and gets slammed into the ground. This was the courtesy of our boy, Silver the Hedgehog. Glad to see him involved in the story again. We get a small funny banter where Sonic criticizes Silver for stealing his turn on fighting the badnik, though he still congratulates Silver's grand entrance, as well as being able to open the door that he used to enter this room. However, Silver says that it wasn't him that held the door open, and that he came from another direction, much to Sonic's confusion. As another giant spinner approaches them, the mysterious figure fires a laser and destroys the massive-sized badnik, much to Sonic and Silver's surprise. I swear these expressions are killing me. Oh my god. This makes Sonic assume Silver destroyed the badnik with a new move or something, but Silver replies that it might have actually been someone whom he refers to as the legendary guardian angel, while he geeks out like a nerd. Sonic obviously doesn't know who that is, as he spent 6 months being held captive. We all know the deal at this point. See all of my previous IDW reviews for more details. Silver gives an explanation about the so-called guardian angel. Multiple units from the Resistance have reported sightings of the mysterious person who would occasionally assist them in battle by turning the tides, but has never officially joined the army. He further elaborates that the guardian angel had already saved him more than once at this point, expressing his enthusiasm. Sonic casually asks Silver if he is a fan of this person upon returning from the future. Silver openly replies, saying that the figure is not the actual reason as to why he returned to the present, as Eggman being defeated did not save the future. In his timeline, the one he originally escaped from, the Eggman Empire had already taken over the world, but when he returned there from the present, he found no signs of any living soul in sight. No people, no animals, not even machinery, just nothing but water and sparse metallic plant life. Because of this, he had to come back to the present to figure out what's going on. He was later informed by Amy that Sonic was on the lookout for clues to gather and came to his aid. Sonic suggests that this guardian angel is very likely here for that same reason as well. He comes to notice that the weapon marks left on the badniks used to destroy them are not ordinary weapons, and that they're normally built for clearing out hordes of robots with the use of the Wisp's power, but not as precise as this. Just then, they hear a noise from around the corner that's not too far from them, and approach where the sound is coming from. Upon arriving, they see a female wolf who tries to break a door open with her Wispon by using some Wisp powers, but to no avail. Silver calls out to her to get her attention, claiming it must be the guardian angel, but this causes the wolf to get scared and she floats away, making Silver feel a little saddened. Sonic knows the wolf's reaction is an indication of the fact that due to always being solo on a mission, she has never joined the Resistance, and therefore has never interacted with anyone, something that Silver was unaware of despite all the times that he's been alone. Sonic addresses the female wolf and greets her by introducing himself in silver and offers her their resistance. All of the wisps come out of the wolf's jacket and fly over to Sonic in a cheerful manner as they are excited to see him again. This is so cute. The wolf eventually jumps down, unmasks herself, and introduces herself as Whisper. Silver starts to whisper, as in the actual word, but Sonic tells him that she meant her name is Whisper, not the word itself. Honestly, if this comic came out around 2010 or 2011 when I was young at the time, I'd probably fail to understand this. Silver then goes to open the door with his psychic powers, and the three find themselves in the computer room.
Find the computer room!
Yes, the computer room, which is guarded by spinner bots and a new robot called E107 Theta, which surprisingly looks a lot like E105 Zeta, which appears at the end of E102 Gamma's version of Hot Shelter from Sonic Adventure. Sonic and Whisper begin to fight these badniks, with Silver eventually joining in, though he accidentally loses control of the door. We get yet another awesome fight scene of the trio's fight against the badnik onslaught, and oh my god, the art style makes this look so gosh darn cool! As the battle goes on, Sonic and Silver start destroying as many spitter bots as they can in order to make destroying Theta more manageable, with the use of the real superpower teamwork! Silver blasts every enemy in sight with his psychokinesis abilities, while Sonic does the same with his lightspeed attack. However, despite their efforts, Theta shoots in Whisper's direction, causing an explosion, and it gets her pinned down. More spinner bots approach her as she tries to grab her Wispon, but her wisps come out to protect her from them. And dang, they are outraged. Thankfully, Silver comes just in time to grab the spinner bots with his psychokinesis powers and hurl them towards Theta's missiles. Super sick. This is why I love Silver. Sonic then uses this as an opportunity to deliver the final blow, which frees an animal in the process. I didn't know Eggman still puts animals inside of badniks. Did he not learn from the events of Lost World? After the fight, Silver frees Whisper from the rubble and tells her that even though she prefers to work alone, she still managed to provide good teamwork and that he'd be glad to be a part of, to which she somewhat agrees. Foreshadowing. Immediately afterwards, she takes the initiative to destroy the computer in an outrageous manner shown in her eyes, but Sonic stops her from doing so, who says they need to gather information first, to which Whisper reluctantly accepts. Sonic wonders if Eggman did something so inherently bad that caused her to react this way. This will be important in future issues. Silver checks the computer, which is called an Eggnet, and sees that there is a major update on it. Once he and Sonic immediately discover what it is, he goes, Oh crap! Oh my god, this moment right here got me laughing for 5 minutes straight. It was way too funny, way more funnier than it needed to be. I can't believe Sega actually allowed this. God, I love this writing so much. Best and most hilarious moment in IDW Sonic so far. Anyways, as they find out what's shown on the Eggnet, we cut to the Resistance base where something catches Knuckles' attention, who reacts to a distress signal coming from the Master Emerald. Amy notices this and they both begin to wonder what's happening to it, since Knuckles had it hidden somewhere on the island, which was why he devoted his time in helping the Resistance. He replies by saying that there is a connection that he has with the Emerald as its guardian. Soon after, they are contacted by Sonic and Silver as they just found out what Neo Metal is planning and are going to need to bring in everyone. The issue ends with Neo Metal finally achieving his goal that he had alluded to in the previous issue, taking over both Angel Island and the Master Emerald. As he sits on a throne, he dares his organic counterpart to confront him as either himself or as Super Sonic, as he will be powerless no matter what it takes. This sets up the next saga in the comic. This issue's story was another fantastic masterpiece and is another one of my favorites in the comic. Ian Flynn once again did a perfect job with the writing for the story, the characters, and the overall climax of Neo Metal Sonic's presence. So as always in these reviews, let's go over the highlights. Evan Stanley returns as the main artist for the issue, and she has cooked again with her art style. Much like issue 4, it retains the comedic one-off gag moments with the sillier expressions, but still changes to more cool looking and serious expressions in contrast to the serious moments. This is what I've always liked about many of the animated shows, movies, and especially comics, where they will mix in both of these tropes. This is something that cartoons like Teen Titans and TMNT 2012 would often do as well. I also love the way Sonic is drawn in several instances, such as in the beginning where he runs inside the base, and another where he hears Whisper trying to break down the door. I don't know why, but there's something about Evan's Sonic design that really stands out to me. I personally think it's one of the best designs ever made for him. He's so cool, sleeker, and even adorable at times. I'm so glad to see Evan Stanley take part in the issue's art style again. It's still one of my favorites in this comic, and I'm really dying to see another issue with her art style. Next highlight in this story is one of the most vastly underrated characters in the whole franchise, my boy, Silver the Hedgehog. I love this guy. This is another character who I believe really deserves way more recognition than he deserves. Gonna explain in great detail as I segue into his history. Silver first debuted in the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 title, Sonic the Hedgehog, or as most would always call it, Sonic 06. In that game, Silver had a pretty prominent role throughout the game, as he comes from the future that is nothing but absolute terror caused by a creature known as Iblis. He meets a creepy individual named Mephiles who manipulates Silver by falsely telling him that Sonic is the Iblis trigger and that he must kill him to save his future. Eventually, he confronts Sonic, fights him, and was about to go in for the kill, but is stopped by Amy, who gives Sonic enough time to go save Princess Elise. This right here led to Silver being one of the most hated characters in the series, and that probably has something to do with his boss fight being one of the worst ones in gaming history. But that's not the point here. Silver is a character who's usually optimistic, but is determined on what he needs to do, even if it means listening to a random stranger who tells him to kill someone who could potentially be the quote-unquote Iblis trigger, despite how crazy it is. In all of the games after 06, his personality is still retained, well, for the most part. In the Sonic Rivals games, his inclusion was pretty questionable. I am aware that the events of 06 were erased going by the events of that game's last story, so I can appreciate what they did to reintroduce him into the main continuity, but from what I've seen of the Rivals games, which I sadly never played due to not owning a PSP, it seems like that he's just there, at least in the first Rivals game anyway. In Sonic Rivals 2, however, that game did a much better job handling him. I love how he's mostly serious throughout the game, and even outright being a massive jerk who makes offensive remarks, such as stealing Tails' rings after calling him a half-pint, or randomly throws hands with Knuckles, who found it ridiculous how Chao can help save the world in the first place. It's stupid, yeah, but I just find it rather amusing when rewatching cutscenes of that game's respective stories for the characters.
I finally collected enough rings for Knuckles and Rouge.
Thanks, Half Pint. I'll take those now.
So, Silver, what do you want with the Chow anyway?
I have to save your world or mine will be destroyed too.
What? And you think the Chow can help? You're crazy.
I'll show you how crazy I am.
Oh yeah? Bring it on!
Also, him having Espio as his partner was that game's biggest highlight. I love seeing these two interact together. Such a shame we don't see it often in the games. And here's where the 2010s come in. In this era, Silver was not given much to work with and gets ultimately sidelined. In Sonic Colors DS, he shows up at Sweet Mountain with Blaze and only gives out missions, though that small callback to their relationship at Sonic 06 was pretty nice. In Sonic Generations, he's just there as an extra boss, and his reasoning for fighting Sonic makes absolutely no sense, and to this day, not even in the recently released Sonic X Shadow Generations, it still has yet to be explained. We know how Shadow ended up in White Space, so how did Silver end up there? Hoping we get a DLC or maybe a new game that ties up to that? Year of Silver, anyone? No? Just me? Okay. In Sonic Forces, he also had a small role and, like the other side characters, didn't really contribute too much. There's one cutscene where he goes,
"I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist."
Seriously, lines like this are why I can't take Force's story seriously anymore. The only good thing about his inclusion is his fight scene with Infinite, but that's not saying much. Game still sucks and the writers somehow ruined Silver, and it's not even so bad it's funny, it's just sad. And in Team Sonic Racing, while I never really played much of its story, Silver appears mostly clueless to jokes, taunts, more naive, and perhaps even incompetent. I recommend watching this video from a YouTuber named The PJ Show, as he provides better explanations on that. So, where does that leave IDW Silver? Well, I actually think he's not that bad. He's written pretty consistently, and I believe IDW does a compelling take on his character. I've seen a few people criticize this incarnation of Silver, claiming that he's often more goofy, a dork, and less serious than his mainline counterpart. And I'm like, guys, it's really not that deep. I think it works well for his characterization in this series. He even gets some serious moments. Sure, it's different from how he was portrayed in 06, where you normally take things more seriously, but I don't mind the nerdiest take they gave him. In fact, the way he geeks out about Whisper and then meeting her was pretty humorous, and let's not forget this moment right here. Seriously, this had me cracking up so much when I first saw this. Like, I can't imagine that one of the staff in the headquarters of IDW sat down and randomly thought to put in this line, and Sega somehow approved of it. So crazy, but I'm glad they never scrapped it. It's just that funny. But overall, I love Silver as a character, and he's absolutely amazing in this series. He may be goofy, nerdy, and dorky at times, but he still has tons of great moments, and IDW has done him justice as well. This guy really needs more love, and much like the Chaotix, he deserves to get his own game. It's such a crime how he hasn't gotten one yet. Next highlight is another new main character created exclusively for this comic, Whisper the Wolf. She's awesome, and she's another one of my favorite characters. Like Tangle, the idea for the creation of Whisper was conceptualized by Ian Flynn, who took the inspiration for her design from many other characters from other franchises, such as Sniper Wolf from the Metal Gear series, Major from Ghost in the Shell, and Kopaka from Bionicle. He also took inspiration for Whisper's design from the female wolf avatar models from Sonic Forces. The Sonic News Network website posted this image of the female wolf custom character that became the main reason for Whisper's design being created. According to the San Diego Comic-Con event in 2018, which I will link in the description below. The mask that Whisper wears is inspired by Japanese kabuki masks, meaning they represent beings like gods, demons, or historical figures. And the idea for her mask came from a kabuki mask costume that can be worn by the custom avatar in Sonic Forces, which was one of Evan Stanley's favorite costume outfits, and decided to add a mask to contribute to Whisper's personality, and Ian Flynn, upon seeing this idea from Evan, agreed and thought it was great to come up with another idea of making the mask a sniper scope and a whisk communication device. Eventually, Evan would bring Whisper to life and make her star as one of the main characters in the IDW series. First off, her introduction was fairly good, though I do wish they expanded on her personality a little more. And much like Tangle, not a whole lot about her past is explained, but we do get a few hints to that. Like how Silver explains that she had provided occasional support for the Resistance, but was still reliant on working solo, and how she attempted to smash Eggman's computer with a strained look on her face. Yeah, I agree with Sonic here. Something must have happened to her very badly before the events of the comic. Thankfully, she does have her own mini-series with Tango where it explains her entire backstory, which I will be reviewing as well. Another cool thing about Whisper is her design. I really like it, and it totally fits her personality and characteristics, and how it came from Japanese culture, and how she was inspired by other fictional characters, which was stated by Evan herself. It's also intriguing how one of the custom avatar characters made in Sonic Forces is the reason for her current design. In my issue 1 review, I have mentioned how the Mobians who fought against the Bandits to protect the Resistance resemble the ones from Forces, and it definitely seems like Whisper is one of them, which is another reason why this comic takes place after the events of that game. That's probably what also makes her a cool designed character. And another interesting thing about Whisper is her personality. While it isn't expanded much in this issue, they still did a good job with her portrayal in her debut appearance, and they even give a few hints that she's actually more capable than we realize, at least so far anyway. The way she introduced herself was a bit confusing at first, so I don't blame Silver for assuming she was speaking low, but her name is essentially based on her silent personality because she is usually always whispering. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe she might be shy, she might be antisocial. None of that is explained either. And the fact that she's usually alone during her missions could be similar to other characters like Knuckles and Blaze, where they're normally independent, and maybe also Silver as well, which she never realizes. Also, I find it really cute how she has Wisp supporting her, allowing her to use their powers in a level that's even stronger than an average Wispon, according to Sonic. But yeah, it's nice to see the Wisps again, especially with a new character. I still don't know why these aliens get so hated, but hey, the Sonic fan base just loves to have different opinions. Oh yeah, and one more thing about Whisper is that she only opens her eyes once in this whole issue. Throughout the majority of her appearance, and assuming while she still had the mask on, her eyes are always closed, yet she's always aware of what she's doing. It's pretty cliche for fictional media, where you have characters like Brock from Pokemon or Majin Buu from Dragon Ball who do the same thing with no in-universe reason why they do. As a kid, I've always questioned why they always have their eyes closed, and to this day, as an adult, I still never understood this trope or why the artist made this kind of decision, but these days, I find it more humorous than anything else. Case in point, Whisper is another great addition to IDW Sonic's cast of characters. She's another one of my favorites in this series, and I look forward to her future roles in this comics run. Next highlight are the references, allusions, and callbacks. First, the base that Sonic, Silver, and Whisper infiltrate is based on Arsenal Pyramid from Sonic Forces. I'm guessing it's possible Eggman might have likely made another one, but that's just my theory. Second, Sonic goes, "Way too slow! Come on, step it up!" This line is based on his taunts from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which was the first game in that respective series that features Sonic as a playable character. Even IDW knows that game handled Sonic at his best. Third, the way Silver introduces himself is similar to his Archie counterpart, where he saves Sonic from an Iblis creature. Speaking of Archie, I've been wanting to read the Silver Saga from Sonic Universe for so long now, but unfortunately, I cannot find a copy of it without it being so pricey. It's a shame because that's probably the closest we can ever get to Silver having his own game. Fourth, and I don't know if this counts, but this entire base they infiltrate reminds me of the second episode of Sonic X, where Sonic entered a similar base in order to save cream and cheese. Even the doors look really similar. The nostalgia is kicking in right now. And fifth and last one is E107 Theta, which is a spoof of E105 Zeta from Gamma's version of Hot Shelter from Sonic Adventure. Interesting fact about this one. This robot was actually originally going to appear in issue 258 of Archie Sonic, but was scrapped and replaced with E106 Ida due to legal issues, and reasons for that being done by this creep. Yeah, I'm not even gonna mention his name. But yeah, that's the main reason. And one thing I found out about this while researching as I was writing the script, there is already a version of Ida that appeared in the flashback from issue 5, which uses Zero's design. No, not the Mega Man character, the robot that appeared in Amy's story and Sonic Adventure. I had no idea about this, and I admit that I did forget to mention his appearance during my review of that issue, but it's nice, I guess. So for this issue, I am giving it an 8 out of 10. Fantastic storytelling, no pacing issues, Silver being the main star again, a fairly good introduction to Whisper, the references still being spot on, the fight scenes still being incredibly fun to watch as always, and this ending setting up the events of the next arc. And of course, Silver going, "Oh crap!" That'll never not be funny. Ian Flynn cooked once again with his writing. Now it's time to discuss the variant covers for this issue. And we're once again back to only having 2 variant covers, but at this point it's typical for IDW, so this segment will be pretty short. First off, we have cover B, which kinda gives me some Terminator vibes. It displays Whisper seeing Sonic through her mask scope. It appears that it's taken from a different perspective than cover A, as it uses the same drawing of Sonic from that cover as part of the reflection in Whisper's scope. Feels kinda lazy. It would have been better if he was redrawn to make him more believable. Just some minor criticism about this cover, but it's still not too bad. Like the main cover, this was drawn by Evan Stanley and colorized by Matt Herms. Next and last one is the RI cover, which is much better than cover B, showing Sonic and Silver in an outside setting. It appears that it might be some sort of a desert area they're in, as we've had tons of levels with that type of setting in multiple games. Also, I love the amount of contrast with these wave looking things behind them. It's so beautiful. Being the 8th variant cover she has made, Nathalie Fordrine has delivered another masterpiece. Looking forward to seeing her next one from the next issue. So yeah, the RI cover is easily the best one of the 2, and it's definitely one of my favorite IDW Sonic covers of all time. But cover B just feels a little flat in comparison, but not terrible either. So that's the end of my IDW Sonic issue 8 review. It continues to show what made IDW Sonic so great. We finally got to see Silver in action, got a decent introduction to the new character Whisper, and it retains its fantastic storytelling. It's now 2025, and this is my first comic review video for the year, not counting the compilation video of the first 4 issues that I uploaded recently. I plan on reviewing a lot of IDW Sonic issues this year, but I can't guarantee I'll be able to catch up to the latest issue, as at the time of this video, this series is about to release its 76th issue next month. So it's gonna be quite a long time before I get to that. Anyways, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this whole review. Next time we will be taking a look at issue 9, where we'll begin one of my favorite arcs ever in the comic, the battle for Angel Island. Super excited for this, as I cannot wait to share my thoughts with you all because it is so good. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I'm Brought to 75, and I'll see you in the next review.